Hello everyone. Hopefully this is the start to a health update video. Don't know how this is gonna go. So I just got to the radiologist's office. I feel like a lot of my videos have been in my car or in Alex's car. I guess we should start something like Car Talks with Mags or something. But anyways, I just got to the radiologist's office. I'm parked outside right now. It's gloomy outside today. I'm feeling pretty gloomy. I'm honestly really nervous. I don't know, I think I just kind of like didn't let my mind go there and think about it. Because to be quite honest, if I'm being real with you guys, radiation scares the crap out of me. Even though I heard it's not as bad as chemo, it still just scares the crap out of me. Anyways, yeah, so I'm meeting with him today. I have a bunch of questions on my phone that I'm gonna ask him. Hopefully he's nice and hears out my concerns and stuff. And then hopefully I'll have an answer for you guys. Ever since I started my treatment, hospitals just stress me out. Like I'm just like around a hospital and I'm just so tense right now. I think it's just being in one too much and getting so much bad news in one that I can't handle it anymore, I guess. Alrighty, so we're probably all wondering how that one went, aren't we? So I meant to film the second part of this yesterday when I got home from the doctor's, but I was just so overwhelmed and all these crazy emotions were flooding through my mind. I just really needed the evening to just, yeah, take it all in. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably already know that it was really good news. The radiologist told me exactly what I wanted to hear, and that was that I did not need radiation and that at this time he didn't want to radiate me. I can't even express the relief that I felt when I heard those words. I kind of had a game plan going in of what I was going to ask him to do and what the plan was moving forward. And it's just like he read my mind. He walked in and the first thing he said was pretty much the exact same game plan that I had. The fact that we were both on the same page just made me so happy and just made me so sure of my decision. I feel like for the first time in months, I can truly say that with my heart, this is the right decision for me at this time. So not only that, but I found out I was in remission. Like, hey, so apparently I've been in remission this entire time since my last PET scan, but with this whole commotion of we don't know what to do next, I don't know, I guess the oncologist didn't feel the need to mention it, but yeah, so he's like, yeah, you're in remission, this is amazing, a complete response, and pretty much you're all done as far as we're concerned for the moment. That's just crazy for me. That's just crazy. All right, so I feel like I need to kind of explain this whole situation a little bit more for you guys. So now that I've actually had time to like fully research what my results actually meant, and I've talked to an oncologist, I've talked to a radiologist, I have gotten a few second opinions, and I have also talked to survivors who actually also had primary mediastinal large B-cell lymphoma. By the way, thank you to everybody who reached out. But basically, the PET scan showed that there was some uptake. Uptake meaning that there was some activity that lit up on the PET scan, and this uptake was a Deauville score of 3. So for those of you who understand cancer talk, a Deauville score of 3 was what I had, which technically means remission and you're good. So it's like a little bit more activity than normal, but still no activity to be concerned with whatsoever. It's actually the same amount of like activity that you have in your liver. So this is why it was my decision whether I wanted to continue with radiation or not, because technically I'm in remission, I don't need anything anymore, and radiation would kind of just be like a little bit of an extra step. You know, when you're so young and you have to make these ridiculous decisions that are going to impact your future and impact the rest of your life, you know, you really do have to think deep down and do your research, and you can't just go with the first option, and just really have to go with what's best for you and what you think would be best for your own future. Radiation to the chest significantly raises my risk of developing breast cancer in the future, lung cancer, thyroid cancer, and or heart disease. So basically, by putting myself through radiation, I am raising my chances of developing a secondary cancer or heart disease. And the reason why that was a really hard decision for me was because the chemotherapy that I did, which was R-CHOP, one of the drugs that I received was very, very hard on the heart. And I had to have heart tests continuously throughout my treatment to ensure that my heart was okay and it wasn't getting too damaged, because if it was, I would have to stop chemo right away. Although there was no damage to my heart, I mean, obviously you never really know, right? And just knowing that I've already put my heart, I'm only 22, and I've already had to put my heart through such intense drugs and such intense, like, possible damage, it just really didn't sit well with me to do radiation. And also, you know, I've been through this cancer once. I don't want to develop a secondary cancer and go through this again. I just felt that from the get-go this was the best decision for me and for my future. And although I did explore other options, in the end I kept kind of always coming back to this. Okay, so now I just really want to quickly explain what a Deauville Score of 3 means in this uptake that I had in my chest. So basically, where I have my mass, which is now very, very little and is mostly scar tissue, there is a little bit of activity. However, there is no way to actually know if that's actually active cancer cells, or if that's dying cancer cells, or if that's just inflammation. So usually when you do a PET scan to confirm if you're in remission or not, you wait about 3 months before you get the scan done, just because A, your body needs to recover from chemo, and B, inflammation after chemo in the area of the tumor is very, very, very common. The reason why I had my PET scan only a month after is because we just wanted to make sure that the chemo was working properly, and because of the aggressive nature of my cancer, we just wanted to make sure that nothing was backfiring and that it was all going according to plan. It is very highly possible and pretty much, I'm not going to say guaranteed, but very likely that the tiny baby little teeny amount of uptake that I had left was just inflammation or the dying off cells. Sorry, this video is a little all over the place, but I just really wanted to kind of explain everything and why I made this decision. So when I met with the radiologist, we had a good like half-hour chat, and I did ask him all the questions, and he was amazing. He listened to me, he heard me out, and answered all my questions, all my worries, even the dumb ones, and was just very kind-hearted and sincere. Was talking to me as if I was his daughter, and that was actually a question I was gonna ask him, like, if I was your daughter, what would you have me do? Before I could even say that, it's like he just knew what I wanted, and he basically said, like, listen, if you are my daughter, I would tell you don't need radiation right now. I wouldn't put you at risk of the harms. And yes, radiation has improved throughout the years, and he assured me of that, and they have all these new machines at this hospital that I go to and all of that, but radiating your chest with such high beams, there's always extra risk. But basically, moving forward, what the plan is that I am going to have another PET scan done 2 months from now. So that would be about 3.5-ish months after my chemotherapy. And that PET scan is basically going to show us whether the Deauville score stays the same, gets higher or lower. If it gets higher, that means that it was active cancer cells. And if it gets lower, that pretty much means that it was inflammation. Or if it stays the same and it's stable, then we're all in the clear and we're good. Radiation is still on the table. However, without knowing for sure if it's still active cancer cells, there's no point in putting me in harm's way. So we're gonna wait 2 months. I'm gonna live my life normally. I'm gonna go back to work. And in the event that worse does come to worse, which I really hope it doesn't, I can always have radiation. I'm not out of options. So that's what he assured me with, and that also made me feel really happy and calm with my decision. And then building off of that, we also just want to watch for relapse. Any cancer, but especially lymphomas, relapse typically happens within the first 2 years after treatment. If you make it past that 2-year mark, your chances of it coming back are significantly lower. But luckily, I will be monitored very closely every 2 to 3 months for the next 2 years. So if it were to come back, we would catch it right away and treat it right away. And then in that case, radiation would be like the first step of trying to completely squash it if it were to come back. But as of right now, I am just overwhelmed and thrilled with finally being in remission, finally being able to say that I'm a cancer survivor, and just enjoying that and living my life and trying to live as healthy of a life that I possibly can, and make sure that like physically I'm healthy and emotionally I'm healthy as well. So sorry if that video was a little bit all over the place, but I just, yeah, I mean, kind of just wanted to explain what all happened and why the decision was made, and that right now, if a radiologist told me to my face that he doesn't think I need radiation and that I'm in the clear, I think that's just amazing news. And I am so relieved. You have no idea. I cried nonstop yesterday. I couldn't stop myself from crying. Alex and I are so thrilled. We're so happy that we can finally start getting our lives back together and starting to live normally again. So thank you everyone who supported us through this journey, who gave us their insights and their tips. We truly appreciated you. And anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up here before I get into my crying, because once I start crying I can't stop. So thank you very much everyone. Know yourself, know your body, and until next time.